In the previous video, we have learned about acids and bases. In this video, we will learn more about salts. So, salt means what comes to your mind initially is that the salts that we eat or we use it for our cooking or in our daily life. That is common salt and it is known as sodium chloride. So, every time salt comes to our mind, we will only think about the salt that is in our home. So other than these salts, there are other salts that is used chemically, laboratory or wide scale range in other than the cooking purpose. So let's understand more about salts and how salts are formed. So especially salts are formed by the combination of cations and anions. So you can see here it is a combination of cations and anions. Here in an acid, previously we have discussed that acid that like HCl, hydrogen is positively charged. Why it is positively charged? Because it is a cation. Cation always gives the electrons to another atom. So what happens when the electrons are given by this atom? So there are only positive charged protons in the nucleus. Hence you can say that you will be writing hydrogen symbol and you will be representing it as plus. So Cl minus, Cl chloride or chlorine is a halogen. So fluorine, chlorine, bromine, etc. are halogens. When they combine, halogens mostly they combine with metals and non-metals, they form certain salts. So you can see that Cl minus, why it is Cl minus? These elements, they take the electrons given by other metals. Usually these are non-metals which take the electrons. So when they take the electrons, they are not going to give the protons. Protons are already present in the nucleus. They are already going to gain more electrons. So what happens when they take the electrons? They are going to be negatively charged. So here, which is giving the electrons will become positively charged, and here which is gaining the electrons will become negatively charged. So it's same case, same example, you can see that base. So the element is, metal is different, it is potassium. Potassium hydroxide is a base. So hydroxides forms the bases. So you can see it is K plus and OH minus. Wherever plus comes, it is going to give the electrons. Wherever minus comes, it is going to gain the electrons. So as a salt example, we already know NaCl is the common example, or sodium chloride or the common salt. Other than that, there is an example that is KCl, that is potassium chloride, K plus Cl minus. So we will understand more about what are cations. As I told that cations, they are positively charged. How they are positively charged? You can see in this figure, generation of a cation. So they are positively charged whenever another atom requires an electron. These are readily going to give or lose the electron. It is majorly done by the metals. So you can see once it loses the electron to another atom, here you can see only plus charges or positive charges. So once they are positive charges, you will write it as in the form of example, hydrogen, you will write H plus. So calcium Ca 2 plus, potassium K plus. So you can see that it is net positive charge because it is going to give its electrons, and protons are positively charged, which is present in the nucleus. So then what happens? Then what are anions? It's just the opposite of the cations. You can see here that here this anion is going to gain the electron given by another atom or a metal. Usually it happens that metals will give the electrons and non-metals will take the electrons or gain the electrons. So here you can see that in this figure you can see that electrons, they are going to gain the electron, but they are not going to lose any protons or positive charge which is present in the nucleus. So once they gain the electrons, this automatically will become negatively charged. So their net charge is negative. So non-metals usually gains the electrons and they are negatively charged. So examples are iodide, I minus. So wherever negative charge comes, or when you think of halogens and salts, you should be adding as minus to the symbol. So chemical formula and the symbols that is used. So wherever metal comes, you should add plus for the symbol against it. So next we will understand the difference between cations and anions. So here you can see electrodes connected to electrical charges or a battery. So the electrodes, there are two different types of electrodes, that is anode and cathode. So as we have told that negative charges attracts the anode. So here you have seen electrolyte solution. Most of the electrolyte solutions will have positive and negative charges. For example, if we take NaCl, so NaCl is sodium chloride or the common salt that we use. So you can see Na plus and Cl minus, when dissolved in water, it forms the electrolyte solution. So you can see that sodium and chlorine, they dissociate or dissolve in water, and you can see that ions get dissociated or separated out. Once the electrical charges are applied to the anode and the cathode, you can see that anode will attract minus charges or negative charges, that is anion, and what is dissociated here, that is positive charge, will get attracted, or a cathode attracts the cations or the positive charges. Hence it will form ionic compound, that is respective ionic compound. Like we have added NaCl, that is sodium chloride, this will become Na plus and Cl minus separately. So what are the difference here? We have already seen that cations are positively charged, anions in turn are negatively charged. Cations, they usually are formed by metal atoms, but it's just the opposite. Anions are formed by non-metal atoms. So cations, as I discussed, that they are attracted by the cathode, anions are attracted by the anode. So here you can see that cations form electrostatic interactions with anions to form ionic compounds. Anions in turn form interactions with cations to form ionic compounds. So next we will see certain characteristics of salt. You might have seen the crystal salt at your home. Like most, same as that sodium chloride, most of the salts are crystalline solid. And you can see that they might be either transparent or opaque. So they might be clear crystal or transparent, or they might be opaque in nature. So most salts that you can see that if you put it in water, it gets dissolved. So you can see that most of the solution of salts that dissolves in water, they can conduct electricity in their molten state. It's not the solid state. In the molten state, they can conduct electricity. So you can see how the salt tastes. You might have tasted the common salt. It is salty, sour, sweet or bitter. So neutral salts are odorless. So either it is an acid nor a base. Neutral salts are odorless without any smell. So salts can be colorless or it can be colored too. So next we will see the family of salts. So you can see here that salts having common acidic and basic radicals are said to be the same in the family. So you can see sodium chloride and calcium chloride. Sodium and calcium are metals, chloride. So chloride is the common form. It forms the chloride family. That is NaCl and CaCl2. Both becomes the same family because the halogen here is chlorine added to the metal. So calcium chloride and calcium sulfate also becomes to the calcium family. Here you can see the calcium remains the same, but here the halogens or the non-metals are separate. Zinc chloride and zinc sulfate belongs to zinc family. You can see here zinc is a common form. Salts and their derivations. You can see that name of the salts, we all are familiar with NaCl. Let's understand some of the different salts. Here you can see that potassium sulfate. The formula of potassium sulfate, potassium is K and K2, sulfate is SO4, and it is derived from where it is derived. So when you have the products KOH, potassium hydroxide, when combines with H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid, it forms K2SO4, that is potassium sulfate. So next we will see sodium sulfate. So when there is a reaction that happens between sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid, it forms the product sodium sulfate, that is Na2SO4. The salts derived are Na2SO4. Sodium chloride. So let's understand, sodium chloride is a reaction happening between sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. So you can see that H2O is the byproduct or the content released and NaCl is the product. So hence the salt derived is sodium chloride. So here you can see that NH4OH. So ammonium hydroxide when reacts with hydrochloric acid. So here also you can see that H2O is released and NH4Cl is ammonium chloride as the salt derived. So you can see here that sodium chloride and sodium sulfate belong to the family of sodium salts. You can see sodium is common here. It belongs to the sodium salts as they have same radicals, that is sodium derived from sodium. The salts are only different because it is of non-metal sulfate and chlorine. Similarly, NaCl and KCl belong to the family of chloride salts. You can see that sodium and potassium are different metals, but it is derived from the same family of chlorine, that is chloride salts. So salts, let's understand what are salts. It's an addition of salt, strong acid and a strong base. It's a combination of strong acid and a strong base where the pH value is 7. So acidic salts, how are acidic salts formed? They are formed by combination of strong acid and a weak base. Previously we have discussed that when there is a strong acid, you can see the nearing pH value will be 0 to 3. And weak base is just above 7 and it will be 7 to 8 or 9. So you can see 7 is neutral. So from 7.1 or 8 weak base starts. So you can see that stronger base will near to 14 pH. pH value here is less than 7. So you can see an example, ammonium chloride. So what are basic salts? They are formed by strong base and weak acids. So here strong base, as I told that when the pH value nears to 14, it forms a strong base, and an acid becomes weak when the pH nears to 7, that is 0 to 7. Here the pH nears to 7. So next we will understand in detail about the formation of sodium chloride or common salt. So as we have discussed before that it is derived from seawater. Everyone knows about that. And sodium chloride is also known as common salt. So rock salt is different type of salt. It is mined like coal. So like coal mining, it is mined, and Impure such salt is brown colored. You can see in this figure, it is crystalline in shape. So sodium chloride, it is iodized salt, it is almost crystal and without color. Here you can see that rock salt, it is almost brown colored and crystalline in shape. So let's understand the preparation of sodium chloride. So sodium chloride is prepared, as I had discussed before, that electrolyte solution is prepared by certain salts getting dissolved in water. So when sodium chloride is dissolved in water, this solution is known as brine solution. So brine solution is obtained by passing water into the deposit. So when we pass the deposited or mining deposits of sodium chloride, the solution that is obtained by mixing of the salt is known as brine solution. Hence, salts get dissolved in the solution and evaporation of seawater is the major process. Evaporation is the process that we follow to obtain salts. So crystal salts that is obtained directly from the sea is almost impure in nature, such as calcium sulfate, sodium sulfate, etc. So when they are dissolved in salts with little water and filtered, they form the pure crystals. So let's understand for what all uses these salts are used. Common salt is majorly the raw material that we use in our daily life. From this salt we can make different salts such as salts, bases, etc. like sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is also prepared from common salt. So where we are using sodium hydroxide, it is present in washing soda and bleaching powder, bleaching agent. And common salt, like it is also used in as a food preservative. So you can see you use more amount of salts in the pickles, etc. savories, and provides flavor to the food. It gives some nice flavor and aroma to the food. It was also used in some of the industrial purposes. So let's understand now the preparation of another salt, that is sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide, it is symbolized or chemical formula is NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide. Sodium stands for Na, hydroxide stands for OH. So what is common name for sodium hydroxide? Chemical name is sodium hydroxide. Common name we use it as caustic soda. So how do we prepare sodium hydroxide? It is prepared by the method. Method is very important here. It is chloralkali process. So it is chloralkali process. It's so called because we get chlorine as a byproduct and also an alkali, that is sodium hydroxide, in this process. Hence it is known as chloralkali. So why do we call alkali? We have discussed in the previous videos. So bases, when they are able to dissolve in water, it is known as alkali. So what is formed here in chloralkali process? They are formation of chlorine and sodium hydroxide. So you can see here in this figure, salt NaCl is taken and you can see that by the process of electrolysis at the cathode. So cathode is positively charged, H plus hydrogen is produced and HCl, that is at the anode chlorine, water treatment. Chlorine is used for production of PVCs, CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, pesticides. So when they combine with hydrogen, this together they combine, that is hydrogen H plus and Cl minus, when they combine together they form hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid is used in industries, they are used in medicines and cosmetics in certain small amounts. So what happens when, see, you have seen that what are the byproducts, that is products, that is hydrogen, chlorine and sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is an alkali, so it is used in the formation of soap and detergent. It is also used in formation of paper and also fiber making. So what happens when sodium hydroxide is combined with chlorine? So sodium sodium hydroxide and chlorine, it forms a bleach or bleaching fabric, and it is also used in the household forms as a bleach. So what type of reaction is this then? What type of reaction is chloralkali process? So you can see that it is a decomposition reaction that we have seen in the previous videos or the previous chapter, chemical reactions and equations. So when electricity is passed through an aqueous solution, so I have already discussed. So for the electrolysis process, or sodium chloride solution is almost taken, and we attach or keep that is anode and cathode electrodes are getting attached to the battery or the electric current, and this electric current is passed through the solution. That is, solution is known as brine, and what happens is it decomposes or splits the particular solution NaCl to form sodium hydroxide. So let's see that this process is known as chloralkali process. Here what happens is you have taken water. So to the water you have added sodium chloride. So what happens now here is sodium chloride, when added to water, it is known as sodium chloride solution, that is aqueous solution. So what is water formula? So it's H2O and sodium chloride is NaCl. So when sodium chloride and H2O combines, and when an electric current is passed through it, what happens? There is dissociation or splitting up of these compounds into particular ions. So what happens here, that sodium combines with hydroxide in the water and it forms sodium hydroxide, and chlorine is released as in the form of gas, and also hydrogen is released in the form of gas. So the product formed here is sodium hydroxide, and chlorine and hydrogen gas is released. So where is chlorine gas released? We know that chlorine is an halogen, it is negative in nature, so it is going to gain the electrons, it is released at the anode. So it is an anion. Hydrogen gas is positive, that is, it is going to give the electrons. So where it goes? It goes to the cathode. So calcium oxychloride. So CaOCl. So chlorine gas released in the brine solution. So chlorine gas just released in the brine solution, that we have already discussed that. Like we have taken a beaker, in the beaker we have added sodium chloride, and when we mix it, it forms sodium chloride solution. To the beaker we have placed electrodes, that is anode and cathode electrodes. So you can see that when an electric current is passed, these water molecules and sodium chloride gets dissociated and the byproducts formed. You can see chlorine gas was also released in the brine solution. So this chlorine gas, you can see that it is used in the preparation of bleaching powder. So calcium hydroxide plus chlorine. So calcium hydroxide, when combined with chlorine, it forms bleaching powder, that is calcium oxychloride. So you can see here the formula for calcium oxychloride as CaOCl2, and what is released? Water is released. So to make you remember, the left hand side to the equation is always a reactant, and right hand side of the equation is always related to the product. So let's see the complete process through a diagram here. So chloralkali process, electrolysis of sodium chloride. So you can see here that you have added to the water sodium chloride and mixed it, and you can see simple electrodes. So electrodes, anode and cathode. So you can see here that it is attached to a battery, and when there is an electric current passed, So there is dissociation of water molecule, that is H plus and OH minus, and sodium chloride, also sodium and chlorine dissociation happens. So here you can see that combining form, that is H plus and OH minus from the water gets dissociated. Hydrogen, which is positive, it goes and attaches to the cathode, and chlorine minus, it gets attached to the anode. Sodium get attached to the cathode. So you can see Na plus and Cl minus from the brine solution. So thus it forms sodium hydroxide, that is sodium hydroxide gets dissociated, and chlorine is the gas released, hydrogen is the gas released from the cathode, chlorine is the gas released from the anode, and the byproduct, that is sodium hydroxide, is formed from NaCl salt solution. So let's see that what is the product of chloralkali process. As we have discussed, from the chloralkali process there is the formation of major product, that is sodium hydroxide. Then two gases that is released are chlorine and hydrogen. Let's understand the uses of sodium hydroxide. So we have obtained sodium hydroxide. So where all it is being used? So sodium hydroxide is used in the manufacturing of paper. It is used in making of soaps and detergents. It is used in making of rayon in artificial textile fibers. It is used in bleaching cotton, wood pulp in paper industries, used as disinfectant of water, and also it is used as an oxidizing agent. So next byproduct that was released was chlorine gas. Let's understand where chlorine gas is used. So chlorine gas, we have discussed that calcium oxychloride or bleaching powder is formed by combining with chlorine. So it is also used in the production of hydrochloric acid like HCl. Hydrogen and chlorine combine together to form hydrochloric acid. So chlorine is also used to make plastics, that is PVC, polyvinyl chloride, pesticides like chlorofluorocarbons, chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, it's used in the paints, etc. So let's understand the next byproduct or the gas released was hydrogen. Hydrogen is used as a fuel for rockets. It is used to make ammonia, that is NH3 for fertilizers. It is also used in hydrogenation of oils to obtain vegetable ghee. So we say vanaspati or vegetable ghee, that is hydrogenation of oils, we use hydrogen. So next salt is sodium hydrogen carbonate, or it is also known as sodium bicarbonate. So the formula for sodium hydrogen carbonate is NaHCO3. So common name of sodium hydrogen carbonate is baking soda. So you might have seen baking soda in the food preparations. So let us understand that how it is prepared. So the process here, so preparation of baking soda. So sodium hydroxide, we have seen that chloralkali process is used. Here sodium hydrogen carbonate, we will use Solvay process. The process is known as Solvay process, is used in the production of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate for industrial use. In this process, what is used is carbon dioxide, water, ammonia, brine solution is in the form of raw materials used. So let's again say carbon dioxide, water, that is CO2, H2O, NH3, and brine solution, it can be NaCl. So here it is inexpensive form, that is less number of raw materials are used to produce sodium bicarbonate, and it is used in the production of baking soda and sodium carbonate. So let us see now. So we have already spoken about the raw material used here. It's carbon dioxide, water, ammonia and sodium salt. So that gives rise to NaHCO3, sodium hydrogen carbonate, and NH, sodium hydrogen, or ammonia or ammonium is released. Sodium bicarbonate, here again it is used to form sodium carbonate, carbon dioxide and water. So you can see sodium hydrogen carbonate. This product again is used to produce sodium carbonate, Na2CO3, and what is released? Carbon dioxide and water is released. Carbon dioxide produced here is recycled to produce sodium hydrogen carbonate again. See, it's a recycling process. Here you can see that carbon dioxide in the first process along with water, ammonia and sodium salt, it gives rise to the formation of sodium hydrogen carbonate or baking soda, and NH4 is released. So sodium hydrogen carbonate is again used for the second reaction. Here you can see decomposition reaction. It gets decomposed to form sodium carbonate, and also it releases carbon dioxide and water. So carbon dioxide, what is released here, it can again be used for the first process of production of sodium hydrogen carbonate. So let's understand the properties of sodium bicarbonate. So both sodium bicarbonate is not flammable, it doesn't catch fire, and powder dust is not as explosive. So here it's not at all so much explosive, and its melting point is of 50 degrees Celsius. So sodium hydrogen carbonate or sodium bicarbonate is physical nature is white crystalline solid, and also it doesn't have any odor, and basically it is basic in nature. So let's understand where all baking soda or sodium bicarbonate is used. So it is used as an antacid in the medicine, that is we can give the example of ENO. It is used in the baking powder, cake making, etc. Baking powder, how is baking powder formed? So it is a mixture of baking soda and a mild amount of edible. So edible means that particular acid that can be eaten or which can be eaten. So you can see that a mixture of baking soda and mild amount of tartaric acid with baking soda mixes with water, then sodium hydrogen carbonate reacts with tartaric acid to form carbon dioxide gas. Hence, baking powder is formed by combination of baking soda and a mild amount of tartaric acid in the presence of water. So we have known about baking soda. We will know about washing soda. So what is washing soda? So it is derived from the baking soda. So baking soda is sodium hydrogen carbonate. So sodium hydrogen carbonate, when decomposes, it forms sodium carbonate or Na2CO3. We have seen already that washing soda is whitish again. It is odorless powder. It doesn't have any odor. And its chemical formula is Na2CO3, and it is known as sodium carbonate. So when it comes in contact with the air, or it absorbs a lot amount of moisture from the air, hence it is known as hygroscopic in nature. So it can absorb more amount of moisture from the air. It is hygroscopic in nature. It is highly soluble in water, and it is strongly alkaline water solution. That's why we are able to use it for cleaning the clothes. So preparation of sodium carbonate, let's understand. We have already seen it. Sodium hydrogen carbonate or baking soda is used for further preparation of washing soda. So you can see here a decomposition reaction happens here. It decomposes to form sodium carbonate and also releases water and carbon dioxide. We have already told that this carbon dioxide can act as a reactant for again the preparation of baking soda or sodium bicarbonate or sodium hydrogen carbonate. This sodium carbonate, what is formed as a product from the sodium hydrogen carbonate, it goes recrystallization. Recrystallization, it will give off washing soda. So that is 10 molecules of H2O water and sodium carbonate is combined to form Na2CO3 10H2O. So it is the washing soda formula and it is a basic salt. So washing soda or sodium carbonate, from there it forms washing soda. So washing soda is sodium carbonate along with water, it forms Na2CO3 10H2O. So uses of washing soda. So washing soda is used to remove burnt, greased utensils. It is used in soap, glass, paper industries. So it also helps in removal of hardness of the water. It acts as a raw material for various compounds like borax. So let's understand water of crystallization. So what is water of crystallization? So it is number or a fixed number of water molecules. So particular amount of water molecules present in one formula unit of salt. So one formula unit of salt. So whatever the water molecules are present in it, that doesn't change and it is known as water of crystallization. So for example, let us understand there are 5 molecules of water in one formula unit of copper sulfate. So copper sulfate, there are 5 molecules of water in one formula unit of copper sulfate. So what does this formula say about? So formula is hydrated copper sulfate. So it is crystalline water that is present in the copper sulfate molecules. So it gives us CuSO4 5H2O. So there is a slight change here. It is CuSO4 5H2O. So water is the content. So plaster of Paris. Next we will know about plaster of Paris. It is also known as, so plaster of Paris is formed from gypsum. So gypsum has 2 molecules of water. So water, it has 2 molecules. One molecule of water is H2O. So in the same way, 2 H2O water molecules form 2 molecules of water as water of crystallization. Hence, its chemical formula is hydrated gypsum. So gypsum is calcium sulfate. So when calcium sulfate, it combines with 2 molecules of hydrated or crystalline water molecule, it gives the formula as CaSO4 2H2. So it's CaSO4 2H2O. This gypsum on getting heated, so we know that gypsum is present and it has hydrated water molecule in it. So when it's heated, it loses the water molecules and it becomes calcium sulfate hemihydrate molecule. So calcium sulfate hemihydrate, when it loses the water, it almost loses some amount of water, it forms hemihydrate. So CaSO4 half H2O. And this gypsum, when loses the water molecules and becomes calcium sulfate hemihydrate, it is known as plaster of Paris. So keep in mind that gypsum is used in the formation of plaster of Paris. It consists of 2 molecules of water, that is crystallized water molecule. It is CaSO4 2H2O. And on heating gypsum, it loses some amount of crystalline water and it forms calcium sulfate hemihydrate. So it forms CaSO4 half H2O. So this is known as plaster of Paris. So when mixed with water, so when this plaster of Paris is mixed again with water, it again changes to gypsum, giving a solid mass. So you can see here the formula CaSO4 half H2O, that is plaster of Paris. When 3/2 molecule of water is added, it again regains the gypsum form. So CaSO4 2H2O. So let's understand now the uses of plaster of Paris. It is used in making casts, patterns for molds and statues, used in cement, in ornamenting metals and making decorative metals. It is also used in making chalks, used in hospitals in the case of bone fracture and sprains, you can see the application of plaster of Paris. It is also used to fill small gaps on the walls and the roofs. So that completes acid, bases and salts. See you all in the next video. Thank you.